Een moeder wordt gedwongen haar pasgeboren baby te verdrinken in een emmer water. Gedwongen abortussen, publieke executies en marteling. Het zijn maar een aantal van de gruwelijkheden beschreven in een VN-rapport dat maandag het licht zag. Zo meteen een gesprek met de onderzoeker van dat VN-rapport. Eerst de slachtoffers van het meedogenloos regime onder leiding van Kim Jong-un.
Ahn Myung-chul was lid van een vooraanstaande Noord-Koreaanse familie. Hij werd opgeleid tot veiligheidsagent en te werk gesteld in 3 verschillende strafkampen. Als bewaker.
그래서 그 11호 수용소에서 그 신병 교육을 받았는데 가장 많이 받았던 게 이 안에 갇혀 있는 정치범들은 당과 김일성 그리고 우리 조국을 배반한 민족 반역자들이고 우리 민의 원수들이다. 그리고 이 사람들한테 동정을 하거나 그리고 이 사람들이 부탁을 들어주거나 이러면은 너를 포함한 너희 부모도 똑같이 처벌을 받게 될 것이다. 그리고 만약에 이 사람들이 반항하거나 도주하면 사살해도 좋다.
We estimate that there are between 150,000 to 200,000 political prisoners being held right now in all these camps. On satellite photos, it looks like simple village settlement. However, these are very strongly secluded areas with no contact with the outside world.
The North Korean government denies the existence of the Kwanli-so. And this is not surprising because they also deny that any sort of human rights abuses are taking place in North Korea. The Kwanli-so are the modern-day equivalent of the Russian Gulag, where prisoners are starved, beaten, tortured, and worked to death.
인간이 아닌 정말 그야말로 생적이기 때문에 나도 거기 가서 뭐 여러 번 사람들을 이렇게 구타하고 고문하고 하는 것을 보면서도 1995년부터 2003년까지 오간에는 그 북한 그 인민보안부에서 근무를 하다 나니까 18호 관리소에도 여러 차례 다녀왔습니다. 또 관리소 이주민들이 생활을 보면은 저부터도 거기 들어가서 이주민으로 살라고 하면 자살하겠습니다.
그건 9시 정도 된 것 같은데 군대가 이렇게 무전기 지고 저 올려뛰고 내려뛰고 총 쥐고 사람 하나 도주했다고 해가지고 우린 데서도 저 백산 쪽으로 올라가면 멀어요. 근데 얘가 그쪽으로 올라간 것 같아. 그러니까 한 개 대대가 다 우리 주변을 막고 뭐 야단치더라고. 근데 가가 잡혀서 트럭에다가 질질질 끌고 내려오더라고. 차에다 태워주도 않고 끌고 내려가서 우아주 차 러시안 차에다 그래가 놓고 다 모여라. 그래서 아침 10시에 모여서 가가면서 이게 한 피투성이잖아요. 등대기고 뭐 이게. 그때 공개 총살을 해버렸지요.
지금 생각해 보면은 그러니까 사람이 아닌 거예요. 짐승, 오직 자기네가 관리해야 될 대상. 그러니까 그게 지금 거기에서는 그게 당연한 생활로 알았는데 여기 와서 보니까 그게 사람 사는 세상이 아니었다. 예.
Ja, vlak voor deze uitzending sprak ik met BBC-journalist John Sweeney in Londen. Vorig jaar reisde hij undercover naar Noord-Korea met een groep studenten. En ook sprak ik met rechter Michael Kirby, voorzitter van de VN-commissie die onderzoek deed naar de gruwelijke misdaden van het Noord-Koreaanse regime. En ik vroeg rechter Kirby naar de meest schokkende getuigenis.
Well, there were many shocking stories. Stories of the famine, stories of malnourished children. 26 or 27% of babies born in North Korea today are seriously malnourished and stunted, just like the children after the Hongerwinter in the Netherlands. That's something that can be understood in the Netherlands, and it's still going on today in North Korea. Shocking stories of refugees who've sought sanctuary in China, who are unable to bring their babies into North Korea. One who was told that she had to drown her baby. The shocking stories of the people who are kept in the prison camps, and especially the political prison camps, having to live on mice and snakes and grass, things that we thought we had put behind us after the revelations at the end of the Second World War. These things are still going on in North Korea, and they have to stop.
Mr. Sweeney, in London, you travelled a year ago to North Korea, undercover with a group of students. Now, anything you have read in the UN report, have you witnessed this for yourself? Could you see any of the atrocities there?
No, not at all. North Korea is beyond weird. It's like walking inside an enormous science fiction set. What you do see is weirdness, strangeness, creepiness, things which don't make sense. So, for example, they took us to a farm, there were no animals. A university, there were no students. An electricity plant, the electricity failed. And then they took us to a hospital. There were patients, but only in the morning. And so what you see is a kind of a weird shadow game, a pretend country where you were, and in a sense we weren't much different, though we did go at a very unusual time when Kim Jong-un was threatening thermonuclear war against the United States. But essentially you don't find anything out about North Korea if you go there, apart from sensing how weird it is and how repressive the state is. It's the darkest state in the world, and there's a lot of competition for that.
Mr. Kirby, you compare the situation nowadays in North Korea with the Nazi regime in the last century in Germany. What are the comparisons?
The similarities become very vivid when you speak to people who have survived the prison camps. One particular prisoner whose story is recounted in his testimony to the Commission of Inquiry and recorded in our report, told of how it was his obligation during the period that he was in the prison, to get rid of the bodies of the prisoners who had died of malnutrition and of starvation, and how he'd done that in the case of 300 bodies that he could describe, and his job was to put the bodies into a big vat and to burn them, and the process was not efficient. There was some burning, but the body parts were left exposed. Then his job was to take them in wheelbarrows with the ashes and the body parts and bury them in the fields next to the prison.
We have heard many horrific stories in North Korea already, and it seems to me that the only one who doesn't get it is Dennis Rodham, the basketball player. What is the use of this UN report that tells us in detail these atrocities, but don't we know already that it's horrific there?
The first Westerner who reported on the Gulag was a wonderful Venezuelan poet called Ali Lameda, and he was banged up for 7 years from 1967 to 74. He got out thanks to the Romanians. Ceausescu was cosy with Kim Jong-un's grandfather, Kim Il-sung, and he wrote a poem, Pieta, and it goes something like this. I suffer moons of hunger, cruel cries of pus. I give in bone this, my explanation for my misfortune. It's an extraordinary poem, an extraordinary report. So we've known what's happened in North Korea for quite a while. But this report is excellent because it puts the Chinese government on the spot. The Chinese government is probably the only government in the world that could put some pressure on North Korea. Now, to be fair, Kim Jong-un has just shot, as well as his ex-girlfriend and all her friends, he's just had his uncle shot. And the uncle was China's man, China's go-between. So it's not good, the relationship between China and North Korea at the moment, to understate it.
China is a great country. China is a most important country. China is economically an extremely powerful and influential country. And as a permanent member of the Security Council, China has great responsibilities. And our hope in framing our report was to put forward proposals that, on reflection, China, as a country which is increasingly engaged with the human rights movement, that has been re-elected to the Human Rights Council this year, will see the necessity of some kind of effective response. After all, as has been said, China is the close neighbour to North Korea, and it must itself be anxious and concerned about a country which is so disrespectful of its citizens and has been for such a long time.
Mr. Sweeney, do you think that there will ever come a revolution, or that the people will rise up to this government in North Korea, or as you call it, a government of zombies?
Well, the answer is, I don't know, and I don't know, and I don't know. But I hope to God, yes. Maybe one day. Kim Jong-un has shown himself to be, I mean, his father and his grandfather were killers on an immense scale. But this guy is rash and foolish and a killer, and he's killing people almost in public. It's all coming out. And I feel that if I was a general in charge of the army or in charge of the rocket force, I might shoot Kim Jong-un lest he shoot me or have me shot. The other thing that's happening, and it happened when we were there in North Korea, we saw with an iPhone down the south of North Korea, next to the South Korea, we could use the iPhone and we could get a signal from it from the South Korean phone mast, and you can do the same near the Chinese border. Now, the North Koreans could do that with smuggled in Chinese phones. It means that the ice wall of information, no information has come into North Korea for almost 3 generations. That's changing. The digital revolution is pressing down on the regime, and I don't think it's as strong as it looks.
Judge Michael Kirby in Geneva and John Sweeney in London, thank you very much for this conversation on the situation in North Korea.